55.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. It's the first day of April, and that means it's match month. Jada Tubbs from the Thomas County Community Foundation stopped by NWKS Radio to tell us about Match Month. Jada, what would you like to share with our audience?
I am so excited. Everybody, you got to hear this. We have had match partners for the past several years. The first one being the Dane G. Hansen Foundation out of Logan, Kansas. They have invested in us and they've created a match opportunity that if we raised $50,000 locally, they would give us $100,000 back for matches, for grants, and for our operating endowment. A new player to the field is the Patterson Family Foundation. They are out of Kansas City, Kansas, and they have joined the game 2 years ago, and their match was $70,000. But hear me out. This year, they've upped it to $100,000. So our goal this year is $100,000 because if somebody's going to match that, then why not go after it?
So, Jada, how can people find you?
I encourage you to participate in Match Month. Give us a call at my office, 460-9152. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or our new website at thomasccf.com.
Thank you, Jada. And now looking at the state government, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced yesterday that she vetoed 2 bills and allowed 3 to become law without her signature. The 3 new laws will involve the passing of the HOPE Act, which will put limits on the SNAP program. The state legislature will now have a say in state appointments like the state treasurer, the insurance commissioner, and U.S. senator appointments. And the final bill will limit financial contributions from foreign influences. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 102.5.
This morning, we'll start with temperatures in the 30s out in Colorado and 40s in Kansas with gusty southeast winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Winds this afternoon will turn to a southwesterly direction and increase with gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour and the potential for blowing dust ahead of the cold front arrival from 1 to 4 p.m. There also is a red flag warning from 1 to 8 p.m. for the counties along Highways 40 in Norton and Graham counties. Those gusty southwest winds will turn to the northwest around 7 p.m. and diminish 15 to 25 miles per hour through the evening and overnight. We could see some isolated rumbles of thunder there late this afternoon and evening as that front moves through. High temperatures will top out in the lower 70s, drop to overnight lows around freezing. And then tomorrow it'll be windy and colder and high temperatures in the upper 50s and overnight lows dropping into the upper 20s. This is meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Hey kids, from preschool to 8th grade, this one is just for you. It's the Kiss Dance, a chance for kids to invite someone special, an adult in their life. Kiss. Kids invite someone special. City Limits Convention Center will still have all the prom decorations. It's a kids prom. It's going to be so much fun with photos, DJ, dance, snacks, and more. Just $20 per couple. April 6, 1:30 to 4 with proceeds going to the 2026 Colby High School prom. More info at nwksradio.net. It's the Kiss Dance, April 6th.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm, with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
Get up to $1,000 off your new device at Nextech Wireless. Already a customer and need to upgrade? You're eligible for up to $1,000 off too. Choose from the latest devices like the iPhone 16 or the Samsung Galaxy S25. And it doesn't stop there. Get a $100 Visa gift card for all new lines. Stop by a location near you today. Nextech Wireless, connecting Kansas.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas is hiring now, looking for technicians of all levels and a service advisor to join their team. Enjoy competitive wages, consistent work, plus 401k and health benefits, all in a great work environment. If you're ready for a rewarding career with a trusted dealership, apply today. Visit them in person on South Commerce Road in Goodland or apply on Facebook. Join the Earl Chevrolet GMC family today.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Lohr Electric is your local expert. When you visit with Zach at Lohr Electric, he'll tell you they can do anything. At least when it comes to electrical work, Lohr Electric is your local expert. From replacing lights in your home to LEDs to save money to even setting up power to grain bins on the farm. No matter if it's residential, commercial, or agricultural, Lohr Electric is your local expert. Contact them today and see how Zach and his crew can help with your electrical needs, because they do more at Lohr.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
How about a walk-off grand slam? Touch of all time, Ryan McMahon.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
He's at third, Canna at second, Garcia at first. Breaking ball, line to left field, a base hit. One run is in. Here's MJ scoring. Here comes Canna around third. The throw will go into second. It's a two-run single by Jonathan India.
Sanchez next pitch. And that one's hit to right center field, fairly deep. Marsh going back on the warning track, looking up. It's gone! Just cleared the wall in right center field. Hunter Goodman with a solo home run. Puts the Rockies on the board. It's
Gary calls for it. Faces up against Jihad. Gives it back to Asijan. Floater, baseline right. Got it! Nebraska with the lead for the first time since deep into the first half. It's 60-59. Just under 7 minutes to go.
Left foul line extended. Strong. Hands for Beckers. Left wing three. Got it!
Paige Beckers knocks down two huge jumpers. She's got 25.
And good Tuesday morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. As always, broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and NWKSradio.net. For those further away, of course, on YouTube, Facebook, and X on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. So glad you could join us here on this April the 1st. Not everybody else has any April Fool's jokes pulled on them yet, but today would be the day to do that for sure. Going to be a blustery one today. Maybe not as windy in some spots as it is. I think further south you go, could see a little bit more wind. It looks like as if the National Weather Service is kind of drawing that line. They're kind of at the base of, Sherman, Thomas counties. That if you go south of that, could see a little bit more wind. You go north of that, maybe a little bit less wind. It's still going to be blustery today. Winds anywhere from 20 to 40 miles per hour. Could see probably some gusts over that. Do expect to see some cloudy skies, but warm today. Temperature is going to be the warmest day of the week. Temperature is expected to be in the upper 60s to the low 70s, and then we will have a severe cool down over the rest of the week. 55 on Wednesday, and then 40s all the way through Saturday with chances of rain and even some snow possibly on Saturday for those who want to look ahead to the weather forecast. And then Sunday, 53, the weather looking ahead. So once again, the roller coaster continues here in spring as it usually is. And looking ahead to next week, temperatures back in the 60s, heck, even getting up into the upper 60s on Wednesday. So almost 8 days from today. Temperatures will be back into warmer temps and should be some nice weather, plenty of sunshine after we get some possible rain and snow this weekend. Hope everyone's having a good start to your day. As always, the FNB Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222 if you would like to be a part of the Morning Blitz. Would love to hear from you throughout the show. Today, we will talk a little bit of Goodland Cowgirls softball with Tess Smith. She'll be joining us in studio to talk about the Cowgirls season as they get it underway today over in Colby. In fact, we'll have coverage of that series between Colby and Goodland right here on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, starting at around 2:40 Mountain, 3:40 Central Time with pregame, getting you set for that doubleheader series between the Lady Eagles and the Cowgirls. Lady Eagles have already played 4 games that have counted towards their regular season record. They've played 6 games total. They went to a little jamboree to get things going back in late March. So they've kind of had 6 games against other competition besides themselves, while Goodland will be playing their first game against other competition, I believe, here this afternoon in their season opener. So we'll have coverage of that. And there's other local sports going on today that might have to battle the blustery winds of Northwest Kansas. So Tess Smith will join us in studio coming up here in about 15 to 20 minutes. I want to talk on Coach Prime and him getting paid and why I think it is a brilliant move and why he is deserving of the payment that he is getting, despite maybe not being the winningest, one of the top 10 winningest coaches in college football, like the ones that are getting paid, like the ones that are getting paid his salary that he's getting right now. So we'll get some thoughts on that coming up here in a little bit. And an interesting strategy to bring in fans in the walk-off from a college over east. So we will get to all that coming up here in today's program. Plenty of things to get to here, though, in the first segment. And usually, as I like to do that, we kick it off with the front page.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the front page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really?
Start with the good on the diamond. The Royals get a big win over the Brewers. By the way, Milwaukee, a horrific start to the season. 0-4. And if you want even a worse stat of being 0-4, you can add in the fact that the Brewers have been outscored by a whopping 47-15 through these first 4 games. It's been a bad start. The ghost of Bob Uecker, as I thought might help them this year, has not to this point in time. But nonetheless, been a tough start for the Brewers and the Royals. Adding to that with an 11-1 road victory yesterday. How about Chris Bubich? Chris Bubich yesterday was fantastic. He, in fact, was the first Royals pitcher this season to actually work long enough to have a decision, and he went 6 innings, picked up the win. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. Bubich, coming off Tommy John surgery from a season ago, looked fantastic as he led the way, keeping the Brewers' bats at bay. Kansas City's offense, though, got rolling. Jonathan India, a 3-hit day, couple runs, couple RBIs. Bobby Witt Jr., a couple hits and a ribby. Salvador Perez had his first home run of the season, a towering shot to left field that hooked around the left field foul pole. Michael Massey with a couple of hits. And probably the biggest thing, the bottom of the lineup was able to produce with some knocks. Hunter Renfroe had a hit and 2 RBIs. You had MJ Melendez get a hit and a run scored. Cana, I keep saying his name wrong. Cana had a run, had a hit and a couple of runs scored. Michael Garcia had a hit, couple of runs. He had a second home run, I should say. His hit was a 2-run bomb. Scored a couple of runs as well. So the bottom of the order tallied what was 4 hits, 5 runs, and 4 RBIs, the bottom 4 of the lineup. That is, to me, the key to the Royals having success. Yes, we all know that with guys like Witt and Pasquantino and Perez, those guys can really hit the baseball. We know that they're going to provide runs. But can the bottom half of that Royals lineup get it done? And they did yesterday. So thought that was a really good sign for the Royals as they take down the Brewers 11-1 behind just a stellar performance from Chris Bubich. Welcome back to the big leagues, Chris, off that Tommy John surgery. As for the Rockies, a loss yesterday, a low-scoring game through 5 innings. In fact, nobody scored through the first 5 innings before Colorado gets a Hunter Goodman solo shot in the top of the 6th to give them a 1-run lead. But the Rockies handed it off to the bullpen, and they let it go. Herman Marquez was great. 6 innings, just 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He was great, was Herman Marquez. But like I said, handed it off to the bullpen of Alexander, Vodnik, and Blaylock, and they combined to give up a total of 7 hits, 6 runs in that span, including 3 home runs in the final 2 innings for the Philadelphia offense, and the Rockies lose 6-1. Brenton Doyle with a 3-hit day. Not much else really going offensively. So you could blame the offense a little bit, and you could certainly blame the bullpen for the Rockies yesterday in a 6-1 loss that drops them to 1-3. A couple of big-time shots from their shortstop. Emundo Sosa had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and, of course, Kyle Schwab with a big-time bomb in that win yesterday for the Phillies, who are 3-1. So Royals get a win. Rockies lose yesterday in baseball. Those series do continue today. Actually, I should say the Royals series continues today. First pitch at 6:40 Central Time on AM 790 K-Triple-X. Here come the Royals in Milwaukee's in Game 2. Michael Lorenzen against Chad Patrick. The Rockies, on the other hand, they have a day off today, and then they will play again Wednesday. The series continues. Kyle Freeland against Zach Wheeler in Game 2 of that series against Philadelphia. All right, moving on here on the Morning Blitz. The women's Final Four, it is set. And once again, not as much chalk as the men's tournament, which is kind of a surprise, if we're being totally honest. It's kind of a surprise that it's not as chalky as the men's, but you do have 3 number 1 seeds and a 2. So it really doesn't get, I mean, it's chalky, but it's just not as chalky as the men's. South Carolina and Texas will square off after Texas beat TCU 58-47 last night, and UConn knocking off 1 seed USC 78-64 to advance to the Final Four. So you've got UCLA, UConn in one Final Four on April 4th, and then South Carolina, Texas on another Final Four on April 4th, coming your way in the women's Final Four. So to me, this is how it usually is in the women's game. Usually the top dogs are going to be there in the Final Four. I see that a lot. Not as much Cinderellas in the women's game as we see even in the men's most years. I really think we're probably on our way. I think South Carolina's probably going to win pretty handily. I don't know. We'll see. I think South Carolina's probably going to beat Texas. Could be wrong on that. Maybe it's Texas going to win. UCLA, UConn is the game I'm fascinated to see. I really am. UCLA, UConn should be a dandy of a game. Right now, UConn starting out as an 8.5-point favorite. But I don't know. UCLA's got some great size. I think including like a 6'7" girl. Unbelievable. She may be taller than that, but she's huge and very skilled. But UConn, of course, has Paige Beckers and Ozzie Fudd and some really other good players as well. So UCLA, UConn, Texas, South Carolina in the women's Final Four, set to begin on April 4th, which is Friday, I believe. Yes, I think Friday when the women's Final Four will get going. Where's that played at? I got to look that up. Where's that held at? I don't even know. I'll have to look. I'll have to see where that. No, not that. Click the wrong thing. Way to go, Ross. That is played in Tampa. That's right. Tampa, Florida. There we go. Couldn't remember. Tampa, Florida is where that is. Okay, moving on here on the front page as we continue on this Tuesday morning, 22 minutes past the top of the hour. Currently 40 degrees outside, a little bit of partly cloudy, way to a high of 69, possibly into 70. So last night, I'm going to talk about this just because it's semi-regional, but Nebraska men's basketball played in the first ever edition of the College Basketball Crown. It's like another version of an NIT or a CBI type basketball tournament. That's for the teams that didn't make the NCAA tournament. So Nebraska got invited to go play in this college tournament called the Crown. And Nebraska ended up winning 86-78. It wasn't pretty. I mean, Nebraska hadn't played in over 3 weeks. It was not pretty basketball. They beat Arizona State 86-78. They were behind, I felt like, for, I would say, a majority of the game. They were able to outlast Arizona State, who really only played 5-6 guys due to multiple of their guys going into the portal. They're playing in Las Vegas. This is all taking place in Las Vegas, which I don't have anything against Vegas. Crowds weren't great. Was watching some of the other games, just kind of peeking in at times. Crowds were below average at best. Below average at best because they're playing at neutral sites. And a lot of the programs just, they don't care. They're playing in kind of a meaningless tournament. Although, I mean, there is a little bit of a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. If you can get to the finals, and if you win the thing, those two things, you have a chance to take home some NIL money for your university, which is kind of cool and different. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm watching this game. Nebraska, of course, was not sharp early, missing some shots. They pull away late thanks to Bryce Williams, who was really good. Connor Seager came off the bench with 17 points on 7-9 shooting. He was great. And they got a nice spark off the bench from Cale Jacobson, who had 5 assists, a couple of steals. He played really well in some expanded minutes that he had not seen in this year. But the thing that stood out to me was from the broadcaster perspective. So I'm watching this tournament, and they've got on the call Kevin Kugler, one of my all-time favorites and one of my idols in this business, and Robbie Hummel. They've got those guys on here, and those guys, and I think early day they had Nick Baugh on, and those guys were all a part of Westwood One's coverage of the NCAA men's tournament. So they were doing the radio coverage for the men's tournament just a couple days ago in wherever they were, Denver or wherever it might have been. That's where they were at, doing the coverage. Can you imagine going from where you're watching some of the best, playing in the Elite Eight, trying to make it to the Final Four, the Sweet 16 Elite Eight, the top teams in the country, duking it out in these massive arenas, sometimes in football stadiums, where they've shrunk it down to half the size, but it's just these massive these massive buildings to watch basketball in, where the crowds are pretty full. I'm not going to say at capacity, but pretty darn full, ruckus crowds, to then going and calling games in Vegas in a quarter full gymnasium, 3/4 empty gymnasium, and watching these teams that didn't make the NCAA tournament playing in this other tournament. And these teams haven't played in 3 weeks. Some teams are ravaged by the portal because their guys have left, like Arizona State was. They had like 5 or 6 guys to play is all they really had. The rest of the guys were pretty much managers suited up. And then Nebraska, of course, looked rusty as all get out offensively to start. You just imagine, get to that first or second commercial break. You're probably, 8 minutes into the game, and the guys take a head. It's like, woof. What did we sign up for here? I know they're paying us to be here and broadcast these games, but woof, we were just calling some great stuff at Westwood One in the NCAA men's tournament. Now we're calling these turds. Oh my, because it wasn't pretty basketball for a long time. It got going. It just took a long time to get going, but it was not pretty to start. I can just, especially Robbie Hummel, because he seems like one of those guys who kind of has like a dry, call it like it is type deal off the air. Like, boy, this is not fun. I can't believe we're calling, some of the best Final Four type games. And now we're here calling these games, which aren't very good, and the game is not that good. But Nebraska, by the way, advances. They'll play Wednesday against Georgetown in the semifinals of that tournament there. The crown, the basketball crown in Las Vegas. But anyway, I just thought that was funny yesterday. Moving on, local sports today. There is plenty of local sports today. We've got Colby Community College baseball. Head coach Ryan Carter and his Trojan team at home, scheduled to host McCook Community College for a single 9-inning game there at Young Memorial Field in Colby. Once again, the Trojans have rattled off 12 consecutive wins. They sit atop of the Jayhawk West. We'll see if, and I think they've beaten McCook already once this year, but they are really rolling as of late. And so we'll see if the Trojans can keep that rolling with a single 9-inning game against McCook in a game they'll probably be having to deal with a lot of wind. A lot of these teams will more than likely. Goodland baseball goes on the road to Burlington this afternoon. We'll see if the Cowboys can get their first wins of the season. Played much better in game number 2 at Colby in what was a series sweep by the Eagles. Cowboys, like I said, on Friday, got to get better about cleaning up errors. That's going to be a humongous thing. Can they be better just in the error department? Can they just make the routine plays? If you're going to throw a pickoff, make sure it gets caught, or make sure it's a good throw. That's going to be the big thing. They can't be throwing the ball around the yard, hoping to get an out, and instead giving up free bases and then free under and runs. So, to me, that's a humongous thing. Cowboys had 10 errors in that series against Colby. Can they cut that down maybe in half today over a series in Burlington? I think if they do that, I think they've got the pitching, and they seemed at times to have the hitting in that Colby series to win more games. But they need to definitely get some more timely hits when guys are on base. That'd be huge, and cut down on the errors. I think those are the two biggest things the Cowboys need to improve upon going forward early on this season. Also, of course, you have today our first track event. The Tribune Track Invite will be taking place down there at Greeley County High. Oakley's one of the teams attending. There'll be a few other area schools going to that as well. The Tribune Track Invite could be a blustery day to run in that. And also today, it is Colby and Goodland softball. I mentioned it right off the top of the show. We'll have coverage on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. This will be game number 5 and 6 of the regular season for Tucker Branham's Lady Eagles, while the Cowgirls and Tess Smith will be having their first regular season games this season. You know, the Lady Eagles struggled mightily against Liberal, understandably so, a much bigger school. They took on Lakin. I did not know this. They took on Lakin this past Friday and had two very high-scoring games, like 13-12 and 11-10, two very high-scoring games that won them both. So they're 2-2 in the regular season. But then Colby, from Goodland's perspective, I don't know what to expect. I do expect Goodland to be a team that can pitch it really well. I do expect Allie Cure to be a really good pitcher this year for the Cowgirls. Tess Smith says they have some decent depth beneath her as well. And then it'll just come down to offensively. Can they put the ball in play when it matters, when they got runners on? Last year the Cowgirls were decent at it, not great. They got on base, but it's about driving those runs in when you get runners in scoring position. We'll see if the Cowgirls can do that. Colby has certainly proven that they can score runs. They have done that multiple years in a row, and they did it in their last series against Lakin. But we'll see. I think the Cowgirls provide a little bit better in pitching depth than what Lakin probably saw. But I think we should do a couple of really competitive games today as Colby hosts Goodland over there on the northeast side of Colby. Should be a couple of good games. Once again, we'll have coverage starting at 3:40 Central, 2:40 Mountain Time on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 if you'd like to tune in and can't make it to the game. All right, it is 7:30 in the Mountain Time Zone, 8:30 in the Central Time Zone. That'll do it for the front page here on this April 1st. We will take a break. When we come back, Tess Smith is going to join us next in studio, talk about Goodland Cowgirl softball and the season that lies ahead, as well as tell us what's going on at the Goodland Activity Center. So plenty more to get to coming up next. You're on a Tuesday edition of the Morning Blitz. Stick around.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Tuesday, April 1st. On the overnight last night, made corn higher 3 3/4 at 4.61. July up 4.5, 4.67 3/4. September up 4 cents at 4.38 3/4. December up 3 1/4 at 4.45 1/4. May soybeans up 3 1/2 on the overnight at 10.18 1/4. July up 3 3/4 at 10.32. August up 3 1/2 at 10.29 1/2. September up 2 3/4 at 10.17 1/4. Chicago wheat, the May contract higher 1 1/4 at 5.38 1/4. July up 1 3/4 at 5.52 1/4. September up 1 1/2 at 5.67 3/4. December soft wheat up 1 1/2 at 5.90 3/4. Kansas City wheat, the May contract closed higher 3/4 cents on the overnight at 5.57 3/4. July up 1 1/2 at 5.71 1/2. September unchanged at 5.85. December hard wheat down 1/4 cent at 6.08 1/4. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $195 at 42,064. The S&P down 18 at 5,635. The Nasdaq down $51 at 19,388. Gold higher $13.20 now at $3,163.50. Silver up 12 cents at $34.74. Crude oil up 6 cents a barrel at $71.54. If you have any questions about marketing grain and would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Splitter, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game. Outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D. Keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
This is Officer Jones calling for backup.
10-4. Location?
Graver back 40. Looks like we've got Palmer amaranth, kochia, some common water hemp.
Resistant weeds. Copy that. You'll need a good tank mix partner. I'm sending Tough 5EC.
Come out with your hands up!
Guys, we're surrounded.
Crack down on repeat offenders. Add Tough 5EC to your post-emergence tank mix. Learn more at toughnweeds.com. Always read and follow label directions. Tough is a registered trademark of Belgian crop protection.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half, and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th, and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
This is where power meets precision. The T9 series with PLM intelligence, New Holland's most powerful and connected four-wheel drive tractor ever. Available now at Yost Farm Supply. The 6 Model T9 lineup delivers up to 699 peak horsepower with a redesigned cab environment for maximum comfort. New levels of precision technology, including optional dual IntelliView 12 monitors. Stop by Yost Farm Supply in Goodland, St. Francis, or Imperial today.
You're listening to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
He talks about sports on the radio.
We're back here on a Tuesday morning, April the 1st. 8:35 Central, 7:35 Mountain Time, on our way to a high of upper 60s, low 70s today. Currently 40 degrees outside the KKCI studios in Goodland. We're pleased to be joined in studio by good friend and, of course, Goodland Cowgirl head softball coach Tess Smith joins me now. Good morning, Tess. How are we doing today? Good?
Ready to go, yes.
All right. What are the first game jitters like? You know, this is year 19, right?
Yes. 19
years.
2006.
Next year we've got a 2-decade party.
Right. Woo! Right. Pushing closer to the age mark in my age, and then 20 years in softball. First game jitters, just hoping everybody's prepared and ready to go. We've had the whole month to get ready. You take into, a little late basketball run there, and then you take into spring break, but it's time to have a game, no matter if the outcome is, on the positive or the negative. It's just time to see somebody else besides yourself. So excited for today. I love the temperature, 60 to 70. Could do without the wind, but that's how it goes.
No, that's the way it is at times. Is maybe it'll be blowing out and not blowing in.
Right.
From the broadcaster's perspective.
Yeah, from where you're
when
going to
they
sit.
slide in and the wind comes
yes.
right in your face.
Right.
I remember going to Cimarron to cover baseball a couple of years ago, and the wind blew like none other, and it was an all dirt infield. And so anytime some sort of play happened out there, the wind just came. I was caked.
And it was probably that red dirt, so you're just covered.
It was just covered. I remember
there's some days
out
it's
my
just
hair.
miserable that you're just like, wow, this is horrible. But so no matter how today goes, we're ready to go. I think just trying to fine tune some things, and there's some things that you can't fine tune against yourselves. We scrimmaged on Friday, and excited about that. So it's time to go. We got a nice group of kids and just ready to turn them loose.
Colby was able to get into a jamboree. I think they played Ellis and another team. I forget who it was.
I think it was Larnard, actually.
Okay, Ellis and Larnard. Okay, so anyway, they played those two teams. Last year you went down to something in Augusta?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we could pick up those early games, and there was too many interferences this weekend to go. Would have loved to have done that again because it was a fun experience. We didn't win anything, but we learned a lot about ourselves down there. So jamborees, tried to get into one early, but kind of got on that a little late. So we're about five pitchers
like?
deep.
Can you explain to that? what that's like when, like, how does the coach go about trying to get into a jamboree, or how do you go about
Probably
doing
mostly
that?
just, ADs, Mr. Lehman and I would talk and say, hey, we're interested. Well, I was interested last year just as a spectator. I went, Garden City did one with Cimarron and Holcomb.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, all three of those teams are on my schedule. I'm going to go spend the day in Garden. So I went down and watched that. And at first I was just kind of like, leery of the jamboree, but the style that they did, every inning was different. Like one inning was just a normal straight up softball game, right? And then the second inning was 1 out, runner at first, and either that runner scored or you got your 3 outs and it was over. Then the next inning was 2 outs, runner at second, 3 outs, runner at third. So they were kind of situational. So it's kind of like, oh, those are kind of nice because those are always situations you can't put yourself in practice. You know what I mean? So I saw like going to it made me like, oh, a little more eyes open to that. I kind of was talking to the Garden City coach a little bit, and then I just think we were just too late. They could have made it a 4-person. So I would love to get on top of that for next season.
Yeah, well, it's got to be more challenging, of course, location-wise, because you really can't go west
Sure.
or really north.
Right,
So you
correct.
got to go east and south,
Yes.
and there's really not a whole lot south.
Right. And then
because of-
you run into, as you know, everybody your face is going to be in your league. How
Right.
many times do you want to see
Right.
them? So,
well,
double-edged sword.
You could see them 5 times in a single
Sure,
season if
right.
you wanted to.
Exactly. Right.
But
Exactly.
there's nothing against the opponent. It's just
Sure.
the way they don't want to see anybody
Right,
5 times
exactly.
a year.
Right.
Because you only probably have 2 or 3 pitchers that you can throw in softball, and so they're going to know what you've got by the
Right.
time it's all said and done.
So we're very lucky right now this year. We have a lot of pitching depth. So we have been able to do a lot of live pitching at practice and not necessarily wear out Allie all the time. We've got Natalie, Sadie, Cadence, and we got a freshman that's just kind of learning as well. So there's a lot of arms there that we can help spread that out a little bit and see a variety and a different kind of things, which is, I have 27 kids this year. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, I have no doubt it's got to be hard. With that being said, how do you feel like these first few these weeks of practice have gone? And with that, you've had some pretty decent weather to be outside
Right.
as well. And that's huge.
That's a big thing. We haven't been inside a whole lot, which happens. Feeling really excited. You've got some kids pushing that could make their way into it, that are just brand new to the program. You've got your returners that you're putting, that's kind of where your poker chips are going, right? Like
Right.
you're going with your kids that are returning, and you hope that it's year 4, year 3. So I don't know. It's like you said before I got in here. I heard you on the radio, and I'll tell the girls that all the time. If you want to get into the lineup, you're going to have to hit the ball. Sometimes we're really successful at driving the ball in. Sometimes we're a little on the bottom side of that. So we've got kids that can drive the ball in this year, I think. So it's a matter of, play 9 on defense. So how do you get them all into the lineup?
No, it's exactly right. I think to me, that's been the biggest key. And I think it'll be for both baseball and softball this year will be, how do you hit the ball when you have people in base in position to score? I mean, I've seen, get up there and get a hit, or I've seen you be able to get on base. Can you drive
And we've really
that person
talked
in
a
when they're on
lot
base?
about moving that runner. If you got runners on, where do we want to hit the ball, or go with the pitch that they give to you? If it's an outside pitch, don't try to pull it to left field. Hit that ball to the right side so we can move some runners. And we've really talked a lot about them mentally, like what's their mindset as they're getting into the box? Like, am I just getting in the box and hoping I make contact? I don't want to strike out. Change your mindset to something positive and compete and with a purpose.
Tess Smith is joining us in studio. For those wondering, she's the Goodland Cowgirl head softball coach going into 19 years here now, coaching the Goodland Cowgirl softball team. Well, if there's one thing you have to feel decent about, would be your starter number 1 pitcher in Allie Cure. I mean, she's a 2-time first teamer in the league. She's what do you expect and what do you hope to see out of her in year number 3?
We've seen lots of good things since we got her, got back from basketball. She threw really well the last couple weeks here in live situations, and threw well in our scrimmage. I mean, she's just getting smarter, right? And she wants the ball and she wants to compete, and she's never going to let anybody down. So she's always going to work her hardest out there. And so we've been seeing that reflecting. So it's time for everybody just to get on the same page, and we got a really good pitcher if we can get behind that. And sure, I told him we're going to make some mistakes, right? But get behind Allie. She's going to do a lot of good things, make the routine play, and we're going to be right where we need to be.
Yeah, you have to feel, like you said, very good about her, but there are, like you said, question marks probably around whether it's defensively or in the lineup. What are some of those question marks as a general source?
Well, it just kind of depends. We came in the kid who we kind of thought was going to lead the way in the catching position would have been Emily Hoppy. She's coming off an ACL tear from basketball. So that there was a little bit of setback there. So now you've got a freshman and a junior in the running who haven't spent a whole lot of time back there. Danny has on her summer travel team. Kaylee is like, hey, I see an opening. I see an opportunity. So, but who's going to fill the bill there, right? So there's a little bit of some sleepless nights there for positions, or, we lost some really good positions. We lost a key first baseman. So, Phoebe's a senior now. And so she ended the season last year with an injury and didn't really get to play. So she ready to step up and fill that. So just some holes that you got to fill, but you got to like what we've got. Destiny Gonzalez, you have to love what she brings to the table. Not even just softball wise. She's a competitor. She's a 2-time state champ, right? She knows how to win. She knows how to fight. And I used her as an example at practice the other day. So who's going to lead this team? Who's going to start the fire and just keep stirring it as we move along?
Because if things could go your way, if you could get the timely hits, if you can play solid defense, I think you're going to get solid pitching. And like you said, you like your depth there. Even if they don't throw as hard as Allie, they can just throw strikes. It doesn't really matter. You have to like your chances of having a pretty good season this year because, a lot of other teams around the listening area and in the league are kind of, to an extent, starting over because they had great senior classes, or they have new coaches. That doesn't mean they couldn't have success this year. They certainly can. But you have to, at least on paper, like your chances.
Right. Definitely like our chances. I love that, returning Allie, that's the biggest key piece for us as she comes back. She's going to be one of the older pitchers in the league. Her and the girl from Cimarron are both juniors and both very identical. I mean, I feel like they're very much the same, but they're the ones that are going to lead the way now that Kramer and Johnson have graduated. So I think almost everybody in the league is happy to see them go. Don't get me wrong. They had great careers. It was fun to watch them, but I'm glad they're gone. And so now it's just time to kind of pave and lay a new path, whether that's ours that we're leading the way, and I told them we're going to make mistakes today, but come out and play hard so we can learn about ourselves and set the table from where we need to go. At the end of the day, all that matters is what you do middle of May.
We were talking, a couple weeks ago, you and me were visiting at the Max, and we were talking about how, these coaches have left. We were just talking a minute ago about being 19. You're the old hat now.
I am the old one. I have been here the longest. I've been here when there wasn't a league. I've been here since the beginning of the league. So here we are. Yeah.
Seth Smith joining us in studio, a Goodland Cowgirl softball coach. Yeah, I know this year could be very interesting. I'm really intrigued to see. What do you hope to see in game number one, series number one, to hopefully feel like, hey, we're on the right path? What do you hope to see? Because it may not result in a win, but what do you want to see?
I mean, great effort, lots of just positivity and just emotion, really kind of, emotion in the right direction for today. Routine plays, take care of the ball. Like we don't have to turn a triple play or a double play even. Just get the routine out and do the little things right. And so, and put the ball in play and move our runners. I think we're very fast. So there's no reason for us to be stranding runners.
I've been thinking about that a lot. Baseball is like, in the sense of the game, and softball are very, very simple sports. Hit the ball, catch the ball, throw the ball. But doing all that is very, very difficult.
Yes. And I think sometimes you got kids and you got some new kids coming in, or you got some kids coming back. And I just stressed to them last night when we left practice, like, there's really no pressure going into today. And not necessarily from the coaching staff, right? I mean, we wanted to perform and play well, but if you guys got added pressure, you're putting it on yourselves right now. We just want to come out, compete, and perform. And so just relax and do what you do. Have fun. Allie, go out and throw relaxed and throw well and play well. We're going to make mistakes. I might make some mistakes too. So we're all going to just kind of set the table today, take notes, and be ready to keep moving forward. But I expect a pretty good day. I hope the weather can help us have a good day, because nobody wants to play when it's Colby is even as well, right? Nobody wants to play when it's 40-mile-an-hour gusts. That doesn't make a true ball game, but for anything. But it happens. Those are the things we have to deal with.
When you're up there batting and you're staring at the pitch, and here comes this big gust of wind with a big old dirt cloud, and you're just like,
yeah, right. So I mean, we've played in some funky elements before, that's for sure. We've had some great days, and you've had some days that are just windy, and that's just Northwest Kansas. Yesterday we should have went outside for practice, but we ended up going inside and hitting because I kept looking at the thermometer and it said it was going to get to 50. And as everybody knows me, I hate to be cold, right? But I will wear 5 layers. And what finally got me was it said 40, but it feels like 33. And I was just like, no, we're not doing this. Like, we're just going inside and getting reps inside hitting. So, we had a good day Friday. It was a nice day outside for our scrimmage, so we're ready to go.
Tess Smith in studio with us here, Goodland Cowgirls softball head coach. What stood out to you about the scrimmage? Just your basic thoughts on that.
Well, we played 5 innings, right? And I divided us up evenly. Varsity and JV kids mixed out throughout the thing. So 2 competitive pitchers, divided up. And honestly, until like the 5th inning, it was 0-0 for us. So, but there, we hit the ball, we put it in play. Granted, didn't always. There's a couple times there were some bobbles and some things like that, but very competitive. I felt like. The way apparently I did a good job dividing teams. I don't know, but I just felt like it was very competitive and everybody just did what they needed to do. So it was a nice day to see what we got.
Well, once again, Cowgirls will play Colby today over there in Colby. We'll have first pitch at 3:00 Mountain, 4 Central Time, and we'll have coverage here on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Real quick before we let you go, lots of things coming up at the Goodland GAC. What's some of the highlights?
Well, the biggest thing coming up that everybody needs to pay attention to is the deadline for summer T-ball, baseball, softball is April 21st. So get on that. I got about 75 kids already pre-registered. We usually top out about 240. So we're still missing some kids. So get on top of that. Go get online at the GAC's website. You can pay online. You can still come into the office and do it old school pen and paper if you would like to, but get on top of that one. That's the biggest deadline coming up. And then April 26th, I believe, is, I don't know why I'm pretending.
Baseball, softball camp,
the
right?
baseball, softball camp. That's just a 1-day deal. You can sign up the day of. Registration starts at 12:30. Camp start at 1 out at Centennial Park. The Cowboys and Cowgirls run that camp for me and help us get that going and just do a little bit of skills and drills with the kids before the summer season starts. Of course, co-ed softball, that's a little bit easier because we kind of have the same repeat teams that always play. So it really a text out to those captains, takes care of them. Also then soccer comes up. Its registration's closed. The first day of soccer camp actually starts Saturday morning. So those are coming up. And then we got a big golf tournament that we're doing. I say big, I don't know yet. Nobody's really signed up, but Sunday, June 8th, it's a 2-person scramble, mixed, all ages. We're just doing a fundraiser to help us move forward with our remodel project. So $75 a person, $150 a team, includes your meal, whole prize contests. So that starts, check-in is at 8 a.m., shotgun start at 9. So you can go to the website and find all kinds of activities going on right now at the GAC.
GoodlandGAC.com is that website. Real quickly, update on the projects. Where do you stand on that?
Still fundraising. Actually just had a really good meeting yesterday with a couple people that help us keep moving forward. Just still working on the grant process, right? And asking for some big funds to move forward with the indoor project. We're about, I say like it's no big deal. We're just about 400,000. We just ran into a snag that with this little new addition, we've got to follow one of the city ordinances and add a sprinkler and a fire alarm system. So we're like, shoot, just found that out from our architects, but that's okay. So just trying to move forward with that. So if anybody's excited, want to see that's also online. We got pictures and stuff at the GAC. You can come by and talk to me if you want to, ask any board member, but it's very exciting. The weight room needs to be bigger for sure. It's always a packed house in there. So just trying to get that project moving forward. It's something we've been working on for a while, and we finally have really decided to push that forward and go get it and hopefully make this happen.
Sounds great. Once again, GoodlandGAC.com, the place to go. Tess, thank you for coming in this morning, and we will see you here in a few hours.
See you this afternoon. Thank you, Ross.
Once again, great stuff there from Tess Smith of the Goodland Cowgirl softball program. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back when we return. Some thoughts on Coach Prime getting paid in capital letters. We'll get to that next here on the Morning Blitz.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas is hiring now, looking for technicians of all levels and a service advisor to join their team. Enjoy competitive wages, consistent work, plus 401k and health benefits, all in a great work environment. If you're ready for a rewarding career with a trusted dealership, apply today. Visit them in person on South Commerce Road in Goodland or apply on Facebook. Join the Hurl Chevrolet GMC family today.
Manufactured with quality in Colby, Kansas, and installed all over the Midwest, it's the RW Garage Door from High Plains Door Systems. Now, the famous RW door is built for our extreme weather here. High Plains Door Systems of Colby has a good supply of products on hand to make any size door you need, plus the windows and hardware for it. They install and service what they sell with their certified technicians. Check them out on Facebook or call 785-462-6352. High Plains Door Systems of Colby. Online, it's highplainsdoors.com.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
No one rambles on better than Ross Volkmer
All you do is talk.
on the Morning Blitz.
Thanks again to Tess Smith for joining us on the program here. Once again, Goodland Cowgirl softball and Colby Lady Eagle softball squaring off today over in Colby at Young Memorial Field. I forget the softball. It's over at Young Memorial Field, but it's the softball field there. And we will have coverage here on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Hopefully the wind won't blow too terribly bad, but we'll have coverage starting about 20 minutes prior to first pitch at 4 Central, 3 Mountain Time. All right, I wanted to get into a story that I saw this past weekend, and I wanted to get to it sometime this week and got to it here on this Tuesday. And it impacts us a little bit here. So if listeners would like to chime in on the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222, especially if you're a Colorado fan like listener Jared is, or some other ones. I know a few other Colorado fans that listen to the program. Love your thoughts on this. But so Colorado has just approved a new 5-year contract for Coach Deion Sanders. He was making $5.7 million guaranteed last year, and that was his third year of a 5-year contract. And so he gets a new deal that will pay him $10 million and more through 2029. That makes him one of the top 10 highest paid coaches in college football. And even though Coach Prime, has had improvements. First, he went 4-8 in his first season, 9-4 in his second. And I'm super fascinated to see what he does without his son at quarterback. I really am. I think Shedeur Sanders was a really good quarterback. He was a fantastic passer. And, of course, they had a ton of talent on the outside. And I think they will continue to have good talent on the outside. Will their quarterback be as good? I don't know. They've got a couple of options this year. I think they got the transfer from Liberty. And then they got, of course, that great 5-star recruit quarterback that flipped from USC. So the question will be, and every year is new for Colorado because they practically flip the entire roster, it seems like, almost every single season with the portal. And Coach Prime, and one of the black eyes, I think, for Coach Prime is that he doesn't really believe in high school recruiting. He does not go out and recruit high school players. He believes in bringing in guys that have the experience at the level that he's playing, which is the collegiate Division I level, and then having those guys play for him. And so, anyway, over $10 million for in a 5-year deal for Coach Prime. I am going to sit here and say that I am totally for this. I don't know how Colorado, and the only reason that Colorado can do this, like if you are their athletic director, they have to sit there and say, okay, he has been a lightning rod to our university. When Coach Prime came, it became a lightning rod. And when he won that game down at TCU in his first game as the head coach of Colorado, it was a massive lightning rod. And then he continued that, beating Nebraska at home in his first home game. It was a massive lightning rod a couple of years ago to have Coach Prime come back and coach, to come and coach Colorado. And with his success he had early on, even though they faded down the stretch, people kept tuning in, and they have to this day. The amount of money and viewership that Coach Prime has brought to Colorado, the amount of money that he's getting paid at $10 million is worth it. It's worth it. It's worth its weight in gold because he has been so instrumental. No matter if he wins or not, people are tuning in to watch him coach, to watch his team play. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the same in the coming years without his sons on the team. I don't know. And if he doesn't have great success, I don't know if that's going to continue. But I admit, when Colorado's on, I'm clicking it. I'm watching it. I don't hate Colorado. But I mean, I'm watching that game. I want to see what he's got going, what he's got cooking up. He's done a great job of selling that program, selling that brand in a short amount of time to actually make it possible for Colorado to pay him this kind of money. Because in previous years, they wouldn't do that. And I think Colorado knows that if they lose Coach Prime, they're going to have to probably go get somebody that would, maybe the head coach at, UC Davis or something like that. They might not be able to go pull as big a name. So they're like, we'll do anything we can to keep Coach Prime here coaching for us, because not only is he having success on the gridiron, but he is also bringing massive amounts of eyeballs and money to our institution, and that is leading to success for them. So I think that's just absolutely massive for Colorado to do that. Also, I heard news that he is wanting to change the grass field there at Folsom Field to turf. I don't know how Colorado fans feel about that. I like the grass field, but he's wanting to go to turf because they're hoping on playing in the playoff and having a good field to play it on. So that could be a change going forward there at Folsom Field. But very fascinating stuff. Once again, I think Coach Prime is deserving of this massive deal because he brings in viewership. Him and his team do, despite maybe not having the success in the playoff or the championship level that, maybe your Clemson's, Dabo Sweeney's, or whoever else, you want to throw out, Marcus Freeman's that are making those $10 million deals. Coach Prime's making that kind of money because he's bringing eyeballs to his team in the regular season. So I think it's a smart move by Colorado and keeping him around as long as they possibly can.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
In this day and age of trying to draw fans to events and get them off the couches and come to a sporting event can be very difficult. And so Coastal Carolina has decided to do something that has never been done. At the 6 home games in 2025 for Coastal Carolina football, fans can acquire 4 items per concession stand visit from a selection of hot dogs, popcorn, nachos, and fountain drinks, and they don't have to pay for any of it. They can go get as much as they want each time. Like they get that 4 items, they come back, get it more. Free. Concessions are free for those items, trying to draw fans to their games. Hey, you got to do something. Got to find some way to get fans to come in the door to spend their money instead of sitting at home watching on television. Every game's on TV or ESPN+. And so Coastal Carolina football says, you know what? Concessions are free. Come on in, fans. Eat, drink, be merry, and cheer on the Chanticleers. Neat idea. It's this type of out-of-box thinking that we're going to have to see in college athletics and really sporting events going forward. Fans want to go somewhere and have an experience, not just sit down and watch a game, because if they're going to deal with all the other stuff they got to deal with, parking, crowds, all that kind of thing, they could just rather stay at home. And that's been an issue for a while now. It's going to continue to get worse. So I appreciate Coastal Carolina Athletic Director Chance Miller for saying, hey, you know what? We're going to have free concessions for football fans. So I like it. I think it's kind of unique and different. So I do enjoy that. All right. That'll do it for our program today. Thanks again to Tess Smith for joining us. Once again, a full day ahead of local sports on the docket. Colby Community College Baseball hosting McCook. Goodland Baseball at Burlington for a doubleheader. You've got the Tribune Track Invite there going on today, and Colby and Goodland squaring off in softball, which we will have coverage here on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 starting at 2:40 Mountain, 3:40 Central Time approximately. We'll talk to you then. If not, we'll see you in 23 hours here back on the Blitz. Have a good one.
Rocket 102.5 KKC.